Let me tell you something uncomfortable. I'm 82 years old, and there is one mistake I made 34 years ago that still follows me around like a shadow. It wasn't a crime. It wasn't a disaster. Nobody even remembers it anymore. Except me. I missed my daughter's piano recital. That's it. A simple evening. A small school auditorium. A few folding chairs. And one empty seat that should have been mine. Now, if you're young, that probably doesn't sound like a big deal. You might even be thinking, come on, people miss things. Life happens. That's exactly what I told myself. I told myself it was just one night. Just one small moment. Just one recital. But here's the strange thing about getting older. The moments you think are small don't stay small. They grow. They follow you. And the older you get, the louder they become. And here's the part nobody tells you when you're young. The regrets that stay with you the longest are almost never the big dramatic failures. They're the quiet moments you postponed. The conversations you delayed. The evenings you skipped because something important came up. When I was younger, I thought life was something you could organize. Like a calendar. Work now, live later. Sacrifice now, enjoy later. Push harder now, relax later. But life doesn't work that way. And it took me more than 50 years to realize that. I grew up in a small house where money was always tight. My father worked construction his entire life. If you ever shook his hand, you immediately understood how he made his living. His palms were thick, calloused, rough like sandpaper. When he came home from work, his clothes smelled like sawdust and sweat. He never complained, but I could see it in the way he sat down at the dinner table. He was tired, the kind of tired that sinks into your bones. And I remember something very clearly. He always wanted a different life for me. He didn't say it often, but when I got my first office job at 23, something changed in his face. Pride. Real pride. He started telling people in the neighborhood, my son works downtown. Downtown. That word meant something to him. Downtown meant clean shirts, air conditioning, a steady paycheck. It meant I wouldn't come home exhausted with broken hands like he did. So I made a decision very early in my life. I was going to work harder than anyone else. Not just for me, for him, for the life he never had. My first day in that office building felt like stepping into another world. People rushing through the lobby, phones ringing, elevators opening and closing. Everyone looked busy, important, confident, and I remember thinking, one day I'm going to belong here. So I started saying yes to everything. Extra work, late meetings, projects nobody else wanted. If the boss asked who could stay late, my hand went up. If someone needed help finishing something, I stayed. At first it felt exciting. Progress felt measurable. Every promotion felt like proof that my sacrifices were working. A slightly bigger office, a slightly higher salary, a little more respect from the people around me, and every step forward reinforced the same belief. Hard work equals success. Success equals a better life. That formula seemed logical. It seemed responsible. Then I met my wife. She had a calmness that balanced my restlessness. Where I was always thinking about the future, she seemed comfortable in the present. We talked about building a life together, a house, children, financial security. And when our first child was born, something changed inside me. I remember standing in that hospital room holding my son, feeling a weight I had never felt before. Responsibility, not fear, responsibility. Suddenly every decision mattered more. Every opportunity mattered more. Because it wasn't just about me anymore. So I did what I believed was the right thing. I worked even harder, more hours, more pressure, more responsibility. At the time it felt noble. Providing for your family was the definition of a good man where I came from. And I believed that completely. But here's something nobody explains about that belief. It hides the cost. At first, the cost is invisible. You miss one dinner, then one school event, then one weekend. Each one feels reasonable in the moment. Work is urgent. Life feels flexible. And slowly, without realizing it, the balance shifts. I remember the night my daughter asked if I would come to her recital. She had been practicing for weeks. Every evening I could hear the same piano piece echoing through the house. Slow at first, then better, then confident. One evening she stood in the doorway of my study, holding the sheet music, and she asked me a simple question. Will you come watch me play? I told her something that became very common in our house. I'll try. 3 words. 3 harmless words. But those words can quietly become a habit. That afternoon at work, something came up. There was always something. A client problem, a report that needed fixing, a meeting that ran longer than expected. And I remember glancing at the clock, thinking something I had thought 1,000 times before. Just one more thing. Just one more email. Just one more phone call. Just one more document. When I finally left the office, it was already dark. When I got home, the house was quiet. The recital program was sitting on the kitchen counter. My daughter's name printed in the middle of the page. And the strangest part, at the time, I didn't feel devastated. I felt mildly disappointed, but mostly tired. I told myself something very reasonable. There will be another recital. That belief followed me for decades. Just a few more years. Just until the next promotion. Just until things calm down. But life has a quiet trick. Every time you reach the next milestone, another one appears. More responsibility, more pressure, more expectations. And the strange thing is, you start to enjoy feeling needed, being important, being depended on. That feeling becomes addictive. By the time I reached my mid-50s, work had become the center of my life. Not intentionally, just gradually. My days revolved around meetings. My evenings revolved around unfinished work. My wife used to say something sometimes. Not angrily, just quietly. You're always thinking about work. And I always answered the same way. Just a few more years. Looking back now, those years passed faster than I ever imagined. Our children grew up, they moved away. Their lives filled with responsibilities of their own, and the house slowly became quieter. Then one day retirement arrived. It wasn't dramatic, just a date on the calendar. The company held a small farewell gathering. There was a speech, a plaque with my name engraved on it. People shook my hand. They thanked me for my dedication. I drove home that evening with the plaque sitting in the passenger seat. The next morning I woke up early like always. But something was different. The phone didn't ring. No emails, no meetings, no deadlines. And for the first time in 45 years, nobody needed me. A few weeks later, I drove past the office building. Someone else was sitting in my old office. The company had already moved forward. That moment taught me something important. No one is essential to a company forever. Companies move on. Life doesn't replace people so easily. 3 years after I retired, my wife passed away. And that's when the quiet really arrived. That's when the memories started showing up. The recital program, the school plays, the dinners where I half listened while thinking about work. At 82, time feels different. When you're young, it feels endless, like something you can rearrange later. But time doesn't rearrange itself. It only moves forward. Children grow up while you're finishing one more project. Relationships adjust around your absence. Years pass quietly without announcing themselves. And then one day you realize something uncomfortable. The moments you postponed are gone. These days I spend my mornings on the back porch, coffee in one hand, watching the neighborhood wake up. Sometimes my grandchildren visit, and when they do, I try to give them something I didn't always give their parents. My full attention. No phone, no rushing thoughts, just presence. Because after 82 years, I've learned something embarrassingly simple. The small moments are the real ones. The conversations, the evenings, the simple time spent together. If you're younger and listening to this, I'm not telling you to quit your job. Life is complicated, responsibilities are real, work matters, but I will tell you something I wish someone had explained to me much earlier. Work will always accept the time you give it. Always. But the people in your life experience your absence in real time. Children grow up whether you're there or not. Parents grow old whether you visit or not. Friendships fade whether you notice or not. And one day when life becomes quiet enough, you start remembering the moments you skipped. For most of my life I believed I had more time to slow down, more time to show up, more time to be present. But at 82, I understand something very clearly. The years you think you can spare are usually the ones you miss the most. And once they pass, no promotion, no salary, no title can ever bring them back.